Welcome to the favorites presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Happy Thursday. NFL Week 15 has arrived. I'm Brandon Kravitz, joined by my fellow favorites, the Prime Minister of Degenerate Nation, Stuckey, and the Queen of the Pod, Miss Kendra Middleton. We'll hear from them in a moment. On today's episode, we're going to submit our official plays for the week. We've got our stat of the day, courtesy of Evan Abrams. We'll get started with that in a moment. Two Kings and a Queen Parlay, courtesy of DraftKings. Kendra's pickle prop. We've planted our flags already. 49ers, Commanders, Bills. Those are already in the app. You can tell everything that we talk about in the Action Network app, the award-winning Action Network app. Let's kick things off with Evan Abrams' shrimply unbelievable stat of the week, straight from the primer. As we enter week 15, we've got some big favorites entering uncharted waters. For Trevor Lawrence, anything north of -10 would be the biggest that Trevor Lawrence has been favored in his entire career. CJ Stroud has made 46 career NFL starts. His biggest line, -8 at home against the Titans last year. How about the Bears? The Bears 7.5-point favorites against the Browns, be the biggest favorite for Caleb Williams in his short career. Then you have the Seattle Seahawks against who knows who at quarterback. -13.5 be the biggest spread in Sam Darnold's career. So, Kendra, which of these uncommon favorites is most likely to bring home cash for anybody that backs them?
I feel like I probably have to say CJ Stroud, just because we don't really know. The Bears are coming off of a win, or off of a loss, so I like the Bears' chance to win here. I just worry about the Browns' defense, and obviously Shador, no real identity yet. We don't really know what we're going to get out of him. Inconsistent. Good to fade him last week. We saw what he did in his first game. The thing about Trevor Lawrence for me, I would like to say Trevor Lawrence, obviously, as a Jags fan, but the kid can't play with a lead. We talk about, some of his statistics. I think this year so far, when he's trailing, he's thrown 9 or 10 interceptions. So when he's leading, he's thrown 9 or 10 interceptions. When he's trailing, I think he's only thrown 3. So the kid just can't play with the lead. That's my fear here, is that they're going to get up. We know the statistics about Jags against backup quarterbacks. That's also just a nightmare. Any Jags fan that hears that they're going up against a backup quarterback, which you can consider, the whole Justin Fields situation, backup, not backup, whatever you want. I personally think that Justin Fields' career as a starter is probably over in this league. He's not doing himself any favors by not really coming across as a team player. So I would say probably Trevor Lawrence most concerning, but most profitable, probably CJ Stroud.
I will be on none of these. My big favorite this week was the 49ers. I'm not going to lay double digits with 2 NFL teams this week. We'll just stick to the one. What about you, Stuckey? If you had to lay the wood with one of these, who would you suggest?
Neither. None of them. I like the Browns at over a touchdown. I make that under 7. A little concerned about their O-line, but that the total's like 39. It's going to be a heavy running game. The Bears' run D is really bad. The Browns' run D is really good. Now, they do miss Malik Collins a bit, but they do have the much better. They're number 2 in rush success rate, number 1 rush EPA. The Bears are 28th, 26th. The Bears are 31st in defensive EPA if you remove turnovers. The turnovers are not going to last forever. It's a tough spot too. It's in between. The game's sandwiched in between the 2 Packers games, which are going to be absolutely massive. So I do think the Bears win, but I think the line is a bit too high. I don't have any interest in backing the Texans laying a big number. They're just not built that way, and they're probably
It'll be a sleepy spot.
They're at the peak of their market value now too. Cardinals could easily get in the back door if needed. There's a ton of injuries to watch for the Cardinals, from offense to defense to special teams, so it's hard to say right now, but not interested in laying double digits with them. And I just don't know what to do with the Seahawks. I don't know what's happening with the quarterback situation with the Colts, and I have no idea how to put a number on that. And then San Fran, I'm close to market. The 49ers defense is still horrendous, and they don't get any pressure, which will help ward out. Titans have been backdoor kings a lot this year, so I have no interest in laying any of the big numbers this week.
I have the Bears in one of my 2 teaser legs this week, down to 1.5. That's the way I'll be playing that game. I'm debating the Cardinals at +9.5. I'm with
Me
you.
too.
I'm not going to lay it with any of these favorites, but if we're talking about the other side, the Cardinals have been awful at home. They've actually covered 5 of 6 on the road this year. And as Kendra mentioned, sleepy spot for the Houston Texans. Consecutive weeks against the Bills, division rival Colts, and the Chiefs. And now you get the Cardinals in the house. Just
The
feels like one of
only
those games that has no business being close, but will be at the end of the 1 o'clocks.
The only thing for me here is that the Cardinals injury report is absolutely disgusting. But the biggest glaring issue for me in all of this is Paris Johnson already being ruled out. That
Yep.
is the part that is keeping me away from the window on this number. It does feel huge. There's a lot of huge spreads this week. Like I said, that this would probably be the one I'd be closest to getting to. But the Paris Johnson thing in particular is the reason that I haven't gotten there. If you love it, go for it. I don't think it's a bad spot because I agree with Stuckey. It's the Texans market is the best it's going to be if you like them. But their injury report is too much, I think, for me to be able to get to the window on because it's just their whole offense is on the injury report. Except for Trey McBride, our king, keep going.
Yeah, tied with Puka Nacua for receptions this season. This one, I would think, might tick up to 10, so I don't think there's any
There's some tens
rush
out there right
on
now,
that.
so don't take 9.5 if you like it. Take 10s.
All right, we're going to dig back into football in a moment. Stuckey, hit me with the bizarre, the weird, the random. What you got?
Uh, Two-part question. One, do you remember your dreams? And two, do you have a recurring dream? Uh, so while you think
Yeah.
about that, I do. I remember my dreams pretty vividly when I get the chance to dream. And my one recurring dream that I've had for 20 years is and it's always during football and college basketball season when I'm just swamped and overwhelmed. Uh, I'm there's two of them. They're both very related. But I am at my desk in high school, and the teacher gives a test in my AP Chem class, which was so hard, and the teacher was a bear, and I had no idea that there was a test, and I'm like, oh my God, and then I look at it and I'm like, I have no idea what any of this is, and then the other one is I wake up in college and I have to go to the final exam for a class that I haven't been to once in the semester.
They're very
And
similar storylines here in the dream.
yeah, well, I'm a big dream interpreter person. So like all that means is like you're overwhelmed, right? So like that's how that's kind of manifesting in your dream. Like you're overwhelmed, you're forgetting something, and then
Your
it
teeth
kind
are
of plays
falling
out
out.
that way. But I have those dreams. I don't know. I
This
probably
is
have
why
them
you're
both
this is why you're a prep hound for that exact reason.
hundreds and hundreds of times in my life, and I still wake up like, oh wait, okay, I'm good. I'm out of college. I'm out of high school. I still wake up freaked out for like a split second every single time. So, do you dream and do you have a recurring dream?
I actually have a notes app of all the weird dreams that I have with like the dates and like what happened.
It's a great idea.
I have a notes app for my weird dreams and the times and places that I get deja vu. I have both of those things because once again, I also like to interpret those things like Stuckey. But my reoccurring dream, I've had it my entire life, literally for as long as I can remember. When we moved out of like my childhood apartment and into a home in the suburbs, we had this like railing that like overlooked the kitchen from like my room and then like my brother's room. And I have this dream all the time where I walk out of my bedroom, walk down the stairs, and go into the kitchen in the middle of the night to get like a drink. And I open the fridge, and a 40-foot anaconda starts chasing me around the house and trying to eat me. And I'm like 5 years old, maybe in this dream. Every single time, I'm in the same outfit, the same thing. I like go down there, I open the fridge, and the anaconda is coming out of the fridge and trying to eat me. That's the only reoccurring dream that I have, but I do have a notes app of all of my weird dreams. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just like write them down and then look at it in the morning and go back and look at them. And there are like reoccurring themes of some of my like dreams, but I do have the teeth falling out dream a lot, and usually bad things happen after, and that's how I got into the dream interpretation thing. So if your teeth are falling out, you better start praying to whatever you believe in, because that's just crazy.
Well,
Wow.
teeth usually means like you're worried about money. Getting eaten by a snake, I would assume that just means you're stressed or overwhelmed by emotions. I would assume that's what a lot of the dream interpretation stuff would say, which makes sense. Like
I don't
you're
know.
feeling
Is teeth
overwhelmed by
money?
your emotions. Teeth is money, worried about
I've
money.
definitely heard that one before. Stuckey sounds like he
Okay.
has a pretty good grasp on the
It says
dream
anxiety,
interpretation business.
stress, or major life changes reflecting feelings of helplessness, insecurity, or needing a transformation is when you have dreams about your teeth falling out.
Yeah. Well, some stress is money a lot of times.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of them are stress, excitement, and they just manifest themselves in different ways.
Kravitz.
How about you,
I'm
Travis?
definitely a dream rememberer as well. So we've got a full podcast full of weirdos in that regard. My wife does not remember her dreams at all. And so it that bugs me out. But I remember all of mine when I wake up. I have a recurring one, but it's so depressing. I don't want to share it with anybody. It's gonna make
Well,
Is it
everybody
about Pamela
sad.
Anderson?
It's not about Pam
barbed wire,
Anderson.
printing out barbed wire
I
and
did have a
tear
dream
gun.
the other day that the Rams were going to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and I logged it in the app. So
Wow.
16 to
Okay.
1.
I
Okay,
do
so Gifford wants to
I
know.
have so many dreams. My life is very sad. I have so many dreams where I'm just in my basement man cave sweating games and I'm just watching a fake game and sweating it. And then I talk in my sleep
Yes.
constantly. I just am chattering. My wife will like what one of the funniest videos she ever took was like I'm like we're all gonna die. I'm just started screaming that. But usually I'm just talking about like I can't believe they kicked it from. I can't believe they went for it. Are they really going to kick this? I'll just be talking about games that I'm watching, and then my wife will just egg me on. She'll just start saying like, "Oh, what's going on in the game?" And then I'll just keep talking like while I'm sleeping. So yeah, it's a
I dated a sleepwalker, and that was terrifying because they say that you're not supposed to wake them up because they could get violent. And I would just like lay in the bed and like wait for him to get back in while he like walked around and talked. And it was like the scariest thing ever. I was like, no. And I also lived on the fifth floor in an attic like the year that I was dating this kid. And I was always terrified that he was going to like fall down the stairs.
I don't know how people like that survive. I really don't understand it. Stuckey
Evan. Do
There's
you
does
a
have a
woman
probably
recurring
on
record
dream?
pot.
Instagram. There's a girl on Instagram who like she will like cook things and like turn the stove on and like start fights with her husband, and
No.
she's like the nicest person ever and like so willing to like make fun of herself, but she'll like post videos of their like home cameras of her being insane in her sleep online, and they're funny, but I feel so bad for her.
I would wrap myself in bubble wrap if I ever were to do that. Since
Evan,
this is
are you a dreamer? Do you have any dream stories?
me,
Yeah,
so all right, just because this is this is a safe place with all of our friends
Well, I
here.
wasn't
On
asking
I
the
you, but I do want to
internet.
hear this now.
I d- so I lost my best friend 4 years ago. Childhood best friend, best man in my wedding, all of that. Tragic stuff. And at least once a month, I have a dream where he's back, and like I know that he's only there for a short period of time, and we just have a ball, and then I wake up, and it's like part of it is super depressing because it's like you're reminded that that person isn't actually here. And then there's also this beautiful side of it where, see, I told you, Gifford, that
No,
this
it's
really
okay.
was said.
It's okay. Yeah, my best
Yeah,
friend
that's
Uh,
passed
what
away when we were
yeah,
in college.
I'm
I have the
sorry
same
for your
thing.
loss. That's awful. I
Yeah.
lost my best friend last week. I I can't imagine.
but part of
Yeah,
it
I
is
guess it's like
beautiful
it's kind of
because you do
nice
get
in
it.
some way and then depressing in another, right? When you wake up, it's
Like if somebody were to ask me, would you like to continue experiencing this dream? To me, it would be an undeniable yes, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still
yeah,
sad when you wake up.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Evan,
didn't
Wow,
know
we
you
all
were going to
lost our
take the
best
pot in
friends.
I do
that
That's
know.
so
direction,
I
didn't
think
you?
Evan
sad.
dreams about like if I had to guess. Actually, I don't even know. Evan, do you have a recurring dream?
I have one very weird dream, which is just me on the top of a cab that is like bolted in with my feet, and there's like an elephant driving. I've had it for like 15 years. I couldn't describe to you what's going on. I'm in New
Okay,
York
Evan
You're
City.
on
wins.
top of a cab.
Yeah,
And your
like
feet
bolted
are
in with
bolted
my
to the
feet.
cab?
Like you're like surfing on the top of a cab. There's like an elephant driving. I have no idea what it means, but I've had it for like 15 years. And it's just it always pops up every once in a while. I have the test one a lot because I hated school. So like I'm always worried I'm missing like an exam. And if you look at my Action Network profile, I talk about quicksand, which is like when it's like a term you use in betting or in life, like when you're kind of like falling or things of that nature. Well, I always dream about like bad things in betting. So I dream about like missed field goals. I dream
Same.
about like giving up goals in like stoppage time. And I think it all just has to go back to all the damn things I've witnessed and seen. And I don't know. I'm weird. I'm
I will
crazy.
say
Yeah.
an elephant is generally seen as a good thing to be in your
I know, I
dream.
just Google it.
It's
Wisdom,
like
strength,
wisdom.
power,
Yeah.
and good
Elephant.
luck.
I got elephants all over my desk, so maybe that's it.
I don't know about the being bolted to the cab though. Like that feels like almost like a loss of control, like fear of loss of control that you're not.
I
Um,
assume it has. I mean, I'm a New Yorker, born and raised, so I assume it has something to do with like me seeing that all my life, but I have no idea. But that is my dream, and
Interesting.
it's my dream, and only I can have it.
It's
You
so
guys
ironic
just
that Stuckey brought this up because I had this exact sort of the bet anxiety. I fell asleep before the end of the Thunder Suns game, and I had the only bet I had last night was Grayson Allen under 15.5 points. And
Jacksonville's garbage.
in my dream, he scored 25, and I woke up and just it was such a real dream of just checking the app and seeing 25. I thought I lost the bet. Turns out he got kicked out of the game, so we're all good.
I want to say something. First of all, my villain origin story is Mac Jones and Grayson Allen growing up in the same town at the same time as me. But second, I would like to say that we just humanized ourselves to each other and the audience. Love you guys. I hate that we're bonding over all losing our best friends at a young age, but love you guys. Mean it.
And that is why we use this show as a distraction. Time for action or distraction. Looking at the luck rankings on Action Network, the Broncos clock in as the #1 luck team in the NFL. The Packers are at 14. Shout out to Nick Giffen on this. That would be the biggest differential on the board by my count. Kendra, action or distraction on fading the lucky Broncos?
I am all action on fading both the Broncos and the Patriots this week. We'll get into that a little later. People have been, I don't know about like on a national level, but people have been so up in arms about both of these teams here locally this week. I think it's the right thing to do. Obviously, Vegas knows better than us, just average degenerates over here, but I've said on this show for the last few weeks that the Bengals were due for, or that the Broncos were due for a bad loss, and I think that it's going to come this week. People are talking about, the Packers are back to when they got Micah Parsons, that whole vibe, that energy. They got healthier. They're better. They're finding their, groove. Jordan Love maybe making an MVP, run for himself. I don't think it's going to be anybody other than Matt Stafford at this point, but I think that the Packers have every right to be favored here.
What about you, Stuckey?
yeah, I'll be on the Packers. Funny story about the Action Network app. One of our college basketball contributors, Tanner. I was in the shower, and during football I have to shower my phone in case the line moves. So I'm just have my phone out. I'm showering, and I get a notification. It says Green Bay minus 115. Tanner logs it, and I'm like, oh my god, because I'm waiting for a cheap money line. It could be a lower scoring game. Packers have some kicker issues. I do think it's a good matchup for them schematically. They play a lot of zone. Knicks really struggles against zone. Broncos play out a single high. I think Love can hit some explosive passes. And yeah, the Broncos have been extremely lucky. I think the Packers are sending. You know me. I'm Team Packers from since the beginning of the year, and will be until they're eliminated. Um, so I started pulling up the board to look for but it was Green Bay, and I didn't even see the basketball. It was the Phoenix. It was Green Bay basketball minus 115 money line. I've been waiting for like a minus 115, minus 120 money line all week, and then I saw that and I got excited. But yeah, I like the Packers here. The interesting note, we talked about this on the Action Network podcast, courtesy of Evan. Since 1980, we have two. By the way, we have two teams on a 10 plus game winning streak. They're both on 10-game winning streaks in the NFL that might close as home dogs this week in the Patriots and the Broncos. We have only seen that one time since 1980, never in the regular season. It only happened back in '05 with the Patriots and Steelers in the AFC Championship game. Steelers were 2.5 point home dogs on an extended winning streak. They lost 41-27. But I do think the Packers get it done on the road.
This was the other piece of my teaser was taking the Broncos up. Oh, Nick's a teaser god.
I don't mind.
Get him.
It's a decent teaser piece, low total. Get cross 3-7. I don't think the Broncos are a bad teaser piece.
So I usually just log one. I don't want to overdo it with teasers because of the juice that goes along with it. But Bears, Bengals, Saints, Broncos, not all together. I would separate them, but I love getting those numbers. Saints
And
plus 8.5.
Commanders for me. Those are my two favorite.
So Kendra, on the last episode, you said that I don't have any faith in you. I'm tailing you on the Commanders, by the way. So
I know I saw your mention to me in the app. I thought that was very cute, and I didn't know you could do that. So now I'm gonna start yelling at you guys on the app too.
that's right. You can treat action like it's social media. All right. The Eagles have removed their recently added positivity bunny. Action or distraction, Stuckey, on that being a bad omen for the Eagles.
I mean, can the positivity bunny play quarterback? If they're taking it out of the locker room and putting him under center, maybe that'll help. But no. I mean, they cut their long snapper. They removed the bunny. None of that is going to fix the offense and their hitch routes and no motion and no play action. A worse off offensive line. Hurts not running. Hurts not being able to read a defense. Their struggles versus zone. This offense is in the tank. It is. You're not going to fix an offense this late in the season. I'm sorry. I mean, it can be done, but it's very, very rare. You pretty much are who you are. Does it mean they can't make a run? No, absolutely not. It's football. You play with an oblong ball, they could win some lower scoring games, but no.
I have a
I'm not buying
question.
into this Eagles offense until I see a long stretch of more. But I don't know what would fix it right now. This is reminiscent. I keep saying it. Of 2023 Brian Johnson. They started off hot. They were winning games despite struggles on offense, and then at the end of the season, they imploded. And if you're an Eagles fan, I would be a little nervous this week. I know it's the Raiders, but Kenny Pickett I think can move around a little better than Geno Smith. In 2023, when you were tanking, I mean they were in free fall mode. I think they lost 5 of 6 to give away the division at the end of the season, and they got blown out by the Bucks. They lost to the Cardinals as 11.5-point home favorites. The Cardinals seem to won 3 or 4 games, and they lost after a Monday night game to a Pete Carroll coach team with a backup quarterback, Drew Lock. So if this is a true copycat season of 2023, I'd be a little nervous. But no, I don't want any part of the Eagles right now.
I have a question. Other than Nick Foles, I'm going to throw out like the starter, like true starter. Is this the biggest fall off we've seen from a quarterback winning a Super Bowl into the next season?
What did Trent Dilfer do after the Ravens won the Super Bowl? I would think he'd be part of that conversation.
Cut.
Because this is bad.
Cut? Yeah, so that's pretty bad. Jalen Hurts at least won't get cut.
No, I mean, Dilfer started for the Seahawks, I think, after the Ravens won the Super Bowl. Flacco, I mean, the Ravens gave him all that money.
Yeah, but he's still out there balling, so I don't really. I mean, you could, I guess, argue Flacco.
Was it
Obviously, I
Elvis
said the season
Gerbach
after, but
was it Elvis
Gerbach was a
Gerbach that
Raven
took
for a year,
over?
and he flopped so bad. But he didn't win a Super Bowl.
I thought he was going to be so good when I was a kid.
I was in on Gerbach when the Ravens signed him. The biggest fall off for the next year after a Super Bowl win. I'm trying to think. That's a good
I think
question.
the obvious answer would be Nick Foles, but he wasn't a true starter that season, so.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson's drop off was more.
That was over time.
Over time, it was gradual. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be.
I mean, Joe Flacco was truly awful the next year, but so like he's up there. I mean, not to say that Hurts can't bounce back and have a good career. Like Flacco was able to bounce back, but Flacco's 20. Evan, can you look that up while I'm rambling? Well, Flacco's 2013 year, I think it was really bad. He was like the worst quarterback in the league. And then all Ravens fans were like, we gave him all this money. And then our team, the Ravens were bad for a couple years because we couldn't afford anything else.
It's when you really
I don't
start
know.
to think about
I
it,
don't
the
even know. It's a great
exercise,
question.
You have Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes that have been mopping up most of the Super Bowls for the last 20 years, so there's not really that many options.
Yeah, but it's very rare because it's hard. Like Dilfer was a good one, and he got cut. And then I think he only played a couple games and got hurt the next year in Seattle. But if you think about it, it's very hard to win over the last 20 years, at least. It's very hard to win a Super Bowl and not be an elite quarterback that's sustained. I mean, you're talking about, I mean, yeah, it's been Mahomes, Brady, Hurts, Foles, Brady, Manning, Brady, Russ, Flacco, Eli. Eli might be up there. He probably had a bad year after one of his. But then it's like Ben, Peyton, Ben, Brady, Brad Johnson. I don't know what he did the year after, but yeah, it's hard to find like a quarterback where you're like, the next year they didn't do much. You'd have to probably go back to like the 70s or but even then that's with all the Steelers. And so I don't know. Evan, do you have what would you answer that off the top of your head?
I mean, I just simply looked at teams to lose 3 straight after winning a Super Bowl to try to help like narrow down the list. 22 Rams, but different quarterback. 2016 Broncos, but different quarterback. 2013 Ravens would be the last one you might use an example. Then the '09 Steelers and '06 Steelers actually both lost 3 straight the next year. '03 Bucks is probably a good answer to the question. It was the same quarterback next year right after, right?
Was it Brad
I would
Johnson?
assume, I think so. I would have to look that up, but and that actually might be the answer. But given the fact that Flacco, and I put it in there, 22 touchdowns and 10 picks in the Super Bowl winning year, and then he threw 22 interceptions the next year.
With how many
feels like
touchdowns? Probably fewer.
19. Yeah, fewer
Yeah.
as well. So
19
Flacco might
touchdowns,
be the
22
answer.
interceptions. That's bad year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially after winning all.
And let's also keep in mind with Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer, those teams were not built on the back of their quarterback. Jalen Hurts was a huge reason why the Eagles were as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so was
it's a
Flacco in
different-
12. People forget that wasn't the Ravens' defensive
That's
line.
why
I mean, he was
I
the
think
MVP.
I think
Playoff-
Flacco's the answer for that reason because Flacco
I really
was
derailed us.
that was a
That was a
phenomenal
great question.
topic.
Kendra.
All right,
I'm
we got
sorry.
to segue to Philip Rivers now because that's a perfect segue.
So let's talk about from one drop off to another. The Colts quarterback situation, certainly that. The Colts are considering playing Philip Rivers on Sunday.
I told you guys. I told you.
You might be right. I didn't think there was any chance.
Shows himself worthy in practices. I mean, I've only seen a couple of clips online. He looks fine in those, but everybody does. Action or distraction? Kendra, have you come around on backing the old grandpa at a fat number?
I don't think I'm going to back Father Philip. I'd be more likely to back Riley Leonard just because have you guys seen some of his tape from practice? He is respectfully thick. Respectfully. I'm not one to, shame around here, but he is not in playing shape. I think that you'd be better off with Riley Leonard. I'm not even joking. I'm
Well, if he's
so
healthy
serious. He's not, and I still think that you'd be better off with Riley Leonard than
They should
literal grandpa.
put in Tyler Warren, run Wildcat.
Well, that's what I was thinking is that you've got to consider Tyler Warren for an anytime because if they have to tush push on the goal line, it's going to be Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren, anytime touchdown is a very good bet, I think, this week because Rivers, usually with a backup quarterback anyway, and against the Seahawks who can get pressure, they don't let up anything deep. Rivers is going to be looking at his tight end. I mean, he's done that his whole career anyway. I mean, he's going to be looking to Warren, and you might get Warren near the goal line. And even if it's Riley Leonard, he's going to be looking at Warren. Usually these tight ends who are good get a bunch of extra looks when it's the backup because it's but against the Seahawks, especially, you got to throw it underneath. The name of this segment is action or distraction. This is the biggest distraction ever because I'm probably not going to bet it. I don't know how to set a line. We've never seen this before. A thick grandpa, that's been out of the league for 5 years.
Father Philip.
So, how do I price this? I don't know. I don't even know how to price the Leonard, right?
I will say, Jonathan Taylor's rushing yard props are not available on DraftKings. There's some consensus picks out there, but they're not even available. I went to log, look at them for my pickle stuff. And the only thing that I saw that I'll probably wind up getting to the window on, we don't have it on our app, but DraftKings does have over his longest carry over 14.5 yards. I think that's a solid look just because they're going to run him into the absolute ground.
I respect that
But
you guys are trying to find angles here. I would say, Stuckey, how about if for those out there that just want to try and come up with their own line on this game and try and attempt to price this, if you were to compare this to whatever you think the biggest drop off is from starting quarterback to their backup, whatever that number is, just ascribing that number to the Indianapolis Colts. Does that make sense?
I mean, maybe, but it might be worse. The error band on that is huge because I mean, maybe because you're going from Leonard, 'cause we don't even know how good Leonard is, but if you went from Jones to, I mean, and Jones hasn't been great either. That's another thing. And then there's injuries on the Colts, but I don't know. The biggest you get is like from like an elite quarterback to the bottom of like your third string. You could say like at times it could be like 8, 9, 10 points, which is what this is. There's other injuries and other factors here, but this look at line, and you upgraded the Seahawks at the last week, downgraded the Colts, but the look at line is what, like 3.5, and now we're at 14. So like, I don't even know what number I would want to bet it. But this, when I say this is a distraction, because I also think the Seahawks are like at the top of their market value, but I don't know how to price the Colts, which makes it difficult. We like I'm gonna want the Packers at 4. We have Lions Rams at 4. Luckily, Titans 49ers, not a great game. Panthers Saints, that has some playoff ramifications. But we have 5 games at 4, which is cool. But usually we had like 3 for the past 3 weeks. And now I'm going to be so fixated on if it's Rivers, what he's doing, and how this looks. So yes, a distraction because I'm probably not going to have money on it, but I'm going to want to watch every snap when he's out there to see what this looks like. So we've never seen it before. From a betting opportunity, is there any advice I can give? No, not with a straight face.
Stay away. Still to come, our 2 Kings and a Queen parlay gets nominated, but first, a word about DraftKings from the First Lady.
The Favorites podcast has teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at even bigger payout. To get started, use promo code Favorites when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Favorites when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours.
Kendra, talk to us. Week 15, props. What has you in a pickle?
So originally I was, like I said, going to look the Jonathan Taylor route here, but I am going to instead look at the Jets defense. I know that they've had a hard time getting interceptions this season. Trevor Lawrence will throw them. He will throw them, especially if they have a lead. It's plus 111 right now for him to throw an interception. I think the lights in Jacksonville are bright. I think that they do win this game, but you have to remember that the Jets have a history of winning games they shouldn't for draft position against Jacksonville at home. The Jags have Trevor Lawrence because the Jets beat them late in the season in 2020 off of a Frank Gore touchdown that he could have just sat down. It would have ended the game and they would have gotten the first overall pick. Instead, they ended up with Zach Wilson, gave the first pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's how we wound up with Trevor Lawrence. So there's a little bit of that history there. I don't like Trevor Lawrence playing with a lead, and I know that the Jets defense has a hard time, creating turnovers, specifically interceptions. So I don't think that that's bad value.
I can hear our producer, David Payne, screaming into the void right now because we tried to do this last week with Tua and turnover-prone Tua, who's tied for the league lead with interceptions, was not able to throw one in a dominant effort against the Jets. So I can't meet you there. I'm scarred.
I like it,
Stuckey.
Kendra. I think, yeah. At plus money, I don't mind it at all. The Jets are this is the longest streak in NFL history to start a season. Maybe overall. I don't think, has any team ever gone 14 games without an interception? I highly doubt it. Evan, do you know?
He's
Don't
clanking.
believe so, but can look it up.
You mentioned the Jets, by the way. The Jets beat the Rams. And remember that in December of 2020? Is that the Jets were like 2 touchdown dogs at the Rams. And in like week 17 or 16, and they lost the number 1 pick. That's why the Jags have Lawrence. I will never forget
No,
that
it's
game.
because of Frank Gore. Literally, it's because of Frank Gore. He should have sat down on that field and they would have. There was a really long shot that the Jags were going to be able to get the first pick that season. It was a whole thing, but it genuinely came down to that last game. Frank Gore scores that touchdown, walk-off win, and that's how they wound up giving the first pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars and winding up with Zach Wilson. I remember it like it was yesterday. I drank an entire bottle of wine in one go that draft night. I literally one touched it on a live stream. I will never forget this.
What was the spread, Evan? Can you look at the spread? 2020 Jets, Rams. I think it was 14-ish. Like it was big. But because of that, you guys got Trevor Lawrence, and if you still hate him, but if that didn't happen, you would have had Zach Wilson. And you wouldn't be in the playoffs right now.
It all works out in the end. Time for the reason you came here today. Our 2 Kings and a Queen Parlay. We'll each nominate 2 plays and see if we can land on some general consensus. And I have a feeling, based on looking ahead here, that there's going to be some disagreement. We haven't had a head-to-head bet in weeks, and I think we're about to have one. So let's see where we go.
Yes, we are.
Stuckey, let's
You
start
guys
with you.
scare
Who you
me.
got?
Well, I'm going. Let me see what this line is at because it's on the move. Yeah, it's 5.5 at DraftKings. That's fine. Anything under 6. I like the Chiefs against the Chargers. Brandon, I know you're going to make a case for the Chargers. Your timing is all off. We told you don't bet the Chiefs last week. The whole must win, blah blah over the past month. I fell for none of it. This is the time to bet the Chiefs, and this isn't even about the Chiefs. Although I think it's a good matchup for their offense. Chargers play the most zone in the league. They don't get pressure. Mahomes in this offense, they're struggling against man, but they're still elite against zone. So I think they'll be able to move it. The Chargers are broken. This is a bad football team right now. I mean, the Eagles are also broken. The Eagles dominated that game last week. They had a 70% pressure rate, the highest of the year. They didn't even have Jalen Carter. They sacked Herbert 7 times, and the Chargers the Eagles turned it over 5 times. The Chargers needed a goal line stand to win in overtime. They were dominated in that game. They cannot run a functional offense right now with the state of their offensive line. A 70% pressure rate allowed when Jalen Carter is not playing is crazy. And the Eagles don't even get with Jalen Carter, don't even get as much pressure as the Chiefs. The Chargers on the road this year, and by the way, this is a short week on the road in the cold, the freezing cold. That's not great for Herbert's hand. On the road this year, since they've had offensive line injuries, they lost to the Giants. They lost by 30 to the Jags. They barely beat the Dolphins, and they barely beat the Titans. I think the Chiefs take them out behind the woodshed, win by 14 plus. Give me Kansas City. And my other one, I don't want to steal Kendra's thunder. I agree with her on one. And by the way, Chiefs have played a much harder schedule. They're 35 net points better. I think it's just a really good matchup for them. Let's go through, and I'll throw out the Browns. I make it under a touchdown. I mentioned the run defenses. Browns much better run D. It's a tough situational spot for the Bears, but it's just over a touchdown. I make it under a touchdown. It's a low total. I'm worried about the offensive line for the Browns. I'll put that out. I don't know the injury report's going to come out, but there's a chance you got KT Leviston at tackle, Weipler, a new center, and they're miserable. But the Bears at least don't get a lot of pressure. Their defense is not great. They have injuries in the secondary. So, yeah, we'll go Browns plus 7.5 or Chiefs minus 5.5. Brandon, we're going head to head. We'll add up all the wagers. I am keeping track of them, and then we'll exchange gifts. I know you owe me a lot more as of right now, but
I do. I think I owe you my left arm and some crab cakes at this point.
What is a good Chiefs? I mean, Kansas City's known for barbecue.
I was trying to come up with something lightning related in my head. Maybe we could crowdsource that.
You should pay Stuckey's electric bill.
We'll figure something.
Yes.
But those are my 2. So we know
That's
Brandon's not going to vote. He's voting for the Chargers. Well, he's not going to vote. He's not going to vote.
I'm fine. I'm fine with the Browns plus the points. I think the Bears have been overvalued all season, so that's fine.
I want the Chiefs.
All right, so it's up to Evan.
Okay.
The judge.
All right.
I want nothing to do with the Chiefs-Chargers game. So I would prefer Cleveland just because I don't want to bet the Chiefs with margin. And the Chargers last week got by like by the skin of their teeth. Like Stuckey's right. They look an absolute goddamn mess. So I want to sit back and watch that KC game with little on it. I think Chicago's favored by too much.
Yeah, I will just throw out there. So we're gonna go with the Browns for mine. The Eagles, their offense is broken. They outgained the Chargers 365 to 275, and their offense can't move it against zone. And they averaged 5.5 yards per play. The Chargers were under 4. They turned it over 5 times, and they still had a chance to win. Like at the end of the game, they were at the 10 with a chance to win it. And that was a short week on the road in the cold. Herbert could go down at any point in time with this hand, uh, and the Chiefs are going to get a ton of pressure. And this isn't the Texans. Like the Texans can get pressure at an elite level. The Texans defense is elite. Chargers defense is good and solid. They take away all explosive plays, but the Chiefs are fine moving Dickett and Duncan. I think that's what they need to do here. But the Chargers are just a dysfunctional offense. You cannot run this offense on the road in a hostile environment with this offensive line. Herbert is going to eventually he's going to get killed and hurt more. It's a 70% pressure rate is insane. But I'm going with the Browns. Kendra, what do you got?
I think you guys are both probably happy with either direction we go in this, just based off of context clues the last couple of episodes. I very much am in on the Bills, especially now that they are underdogs. I think it's a revenge spot. No, real weather advantage here for either team. I hate to say this, and I think someone's probably going to clip this and send it to my producer, but I don't think that the Patriots have that good of a home field advantage. I really don't. They're not a loud group of people. I think they're complacent. I don't think that Gillette is a loud stadium or hard stadium to play in outside of the weather at all. That being said, the Bills also know that there is never, if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, it's never going to happen for them. That window is going to close. You're never going to have another season without Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes potentially in your way. And now you have to add Drake May into that mix. I think it's a must win for the Bills, or we can go with the Bengals. Another must win scenario. Joe Burrow as a dog. We can talk about all of those things. I just also think that the Bengals have way more fight than the Ravens do right now. The Ravens are broken, specifically Lamar Jackson, but their entire team is broken. You can point to the injury report not looking as great for the Bengals. I just love Joe Burrow as a dog. I think the safer bet here is probably the Bills, but where do you guys fall?
I'll say it's just the Ravens games are too hard to bet right now. Like fading them as a favorite over a field goal, I think makes sense. Lamar looked a little better. It's just like, when is Lamar gonna click with this all? I don't know. They don't get pressure, so Burrow should have a day. That's a coin flippage game. So I'm going to vote for the Bills. I like the Bills. I bet the Bills. I would vote we go with Bills money line. The Patriots have been look. They've won 10 straight. They've been good. Drake May's been good, but they've also been pretty
Vrabel off a
lucky.
bye.
Yeah, Vrabel's been great off a bye, but I mean these teams over the last 10 years have been very overrated at home off of a bye, especially in division. 40% against the spread. But like the Patriots are 14 of 18 on fourth down on the year, number 1 in the league, 1.7 EPA per play. Opponents are just 7 of 22, number 3. So like those are huge swing plays in the game. They've had 15 fumbles, only lost 7. They've recovered 70% of their opponent fumbles. Drake May, he's been amazing, but he only has 6 interceptions. He has 14 turnover-worthy plays. He's gotten away with some throws. Where I think this game is decided is twofold. The Bills want to run the ball. The Patriots' run D in the beginning of the year was elite. Since week 11, they're 24th. Excuse me, they're 31st in rush success rate allowed. Loss of Milton Williams, some other injuries. So I think the Bills will be able to better run it here. And then the red zone. The Patriots' biggest problem is in the red zone. They are 24th on offense, and on defense, they're dead last in the NFL. And so I think the Bills, they're going to play a lot of zone. They don't play a lot of single high. Like Drake May is going to move the ball. Now they can get some pressure, and the Patriots' left tackle is big here. But Arian Lowe is unplayable. So their offensive line is not fully healthy. But I think we're at the top of the market. What's that?
Need Bosa to play.
Yeah, Bosa playing would be very helpful. But here's the quarterbacks that the Patriots have beat besides Allen. And by the way, the Bills had 3 turnovers and 11 penalties and lost on a walk-off 50-yard field goal. Jackson Dart, when the Giants' special teams is a disaster. Bryce Young, special teams is a disaster. Flacco with no chase. Justin Fields, Michael Penix. They won by 1 on a missed extra point. Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, Spencer Rattler, Tua, and Baker, who's playing about as bad as any quarterback in the league over the past 10 weeks. That 7 of the 10 quarterbacks, besides Allen, 7 of the 10 quarterbacks that they beat this year are no longer starting or rookies. And they lost to Geno and Rodgers. Are the Patriots good? Yes. But I think the Bills get it done. So I'm going with Buffalo.
Yep. I have already placed a bet on, I haven't gotten there fully individually on the Buffalo Bills, but I have gotten to the window on Josh Allen anytime touchdown for a lot of the reasons that Stuckey just mentioned. 32nd in red zone touchdown percentage allowed. Josh Allen is the winter soldier. And I figure if the Bills are going to win this football game, can't you just envision? We started this episode talking about remembering our dreams. Josh Allen rumbling down the field as he's one to do, 5 rushing touchdowns in his last 4 games. If they win this game, Allen's going to have a rushing touchdown, especially with the defensive woes in the red zone that the Patriots have had. I've got no problem adding the Bills to our parlay. That will be my vote as
High
well.
leverage games, Allen, and this is one. Allen usually breaks out his legs much more. By the way, going back to the Jets question, this is an NFL record on fewest turnovers. The second fewest, the Jets last year with 2. Unbelievable. Evan, who would you have voted here? Bills or Bengals? Evan is just nodding and not.
I tried to
He's
play.
daydreaming. What are you daydreaming about? Let's talk
I tried.
daydreaming.
No, I tried to play a song on my headphones and it completely failed. Bills. Bills Make Me Want to Shout was a song I had from Matt Mitchell. So we love
got
that.
it.
Bills.
Yes. Shout out to Matt Mitchell. Okay, so we've 2 settled.
Browns
All
and
good
Bills.
there. We have the Browns plus 7.5, Bills plus 1.5.
Kravitz is about to
Go
come
Bills
in,
money line.
rain
That's
on our
DraftKings.
parade.
We'll go Bills money line.
Bills money line. All right, I got to refresh. We got to get this in the app. Okay, even if it's just for content purposes, I need to lay out my case for the Chargers because I know that this is the square side. I know that I'm in a battle with Stuckey, who has won 90% of our head-to-head bets this season, but I don't care. This line is a case of sharp stubbornness that I am pushing back on.
That was you last week. You followed
I
the
know.
scheme.
I got caught up in the moment. I was having a losing week. I didn't realize, by the way, I bet that before I realized that we won on the Raiders because, I was trying to be a diligent worker and lock in on the podcast. And I didn't realize that Pete Carroll also had money on the football game. Otherwise, I would have just let the bet ride. That was a mistake. Okay. Mistake number
But
1.
you bet the -5. The
chasing
Texans
cheap.
are like 2.5 points better than the Chargers right now.
But follow me through this thought exercise because I would like an explanation on this because we have, at the beginning of the season, we have a neutral site line to base off of for this matchup. The Chiefs were -3 at close in that game against the Chargers. That was in Brazil, so no home field advantage.
Yeah,
Now
they
you
have an
have the
offensive
Chiefs.
line.
The Chiefs have home field advantage here. The Chargers are coming off of an overtime game, short week, Monday Night Football. This is in division. That chips away at that advantage a little bit. That would give, so I would be comfortable giving the Chiefs 2.5 points for home field advantage. That would get us to 5.5, the difference between the original line at the beginning of the season and adding 2.5 for home field advantage. But that's assuming that the Chiefs are the same team that we thought they were coming into the year. This to me is an over-attachment to priors being on the Kansas City Chiefs. They are not the team that we thought they were coming into the year. They've lost 5 in a row.
Neither are the
against
Chargers.
The
The Chargers are a couple points worse. They have no O-line. They cannot run a functional offense. At the beginning of the year, they had all pro tackles. They don't have any tackles now. They just gave up a 70% pressure rate and 7 sacks to the Eagles at home indoors. They are worse off than the Chiefs are worse off beginning of the year. The Chiefs have just gone 1-6 in one possession games. They are 40 points better in point differential with a 20-spot harder schedule. The Chiefs are still power rated as a top 2 or 3 team. The Chargers have been downgraded and should be. I mean, the Chargers, over the past month, like they beat the Titans, the Steelers. They lost by 30 at Jacksonville, the Raiders, and then got lucky versus the Eagles. Like none of these teams are impressive. This is still a team that got blown out at home by the Commanders, blown out by the Colts. On the road, they've done nothing all year. But throw it all out. They don't have an offensive line. They are incapable of running a functional offense unless they're playing an impoverished defense.
It's not
And
like the Chiefs are
certainly aren't
running a
that.
functional offense either. And this goes that we have 5 losses in a row for the Chiefs against the spread, but it goes back further than that. You have Mahomes is 9-17 ATS in his last 26 games. This is now going on multiple seasons, and I get a Chargers team that's catching 5.5 on the road against the Chiefs team that's having a tough time putting up points.
Your timing is off. Your rhythm is off in this.
I get it.
You dove in last week on the Chiefs.
I'm with you.
Now you're
it.
saying, oh, they haven't covered in a month. It's time.
This is not good timing. I
this
will
is the
always
time to buy the Chiefs. I'm telling you, I haven't bought them in a month. This is mainly a fate of the Charger, and it's a good matchup with the Chiefs. The Chiefs can get pressure, and they're great against zone.
I will always take this.
So is this Chiefs money line?
Last week was the time to take it. You had the Texans with an elite defense, and they're like ascending. The Chargers are tanking. I'm telling you, the Chargers.
I just can't believe
I wouldn't be
that
shocked if the Chargers
I can't
lose
believe
out.
that I'm the one that is about to say that you are trusting Patrick Mahomes to win by margin here, which is not something that he has been able to do.
I trusted the Jags and Trevor Lawrence against this Chargers team in Jacksonville. I'm trusting Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, but that's not
done.
saying much. Look at the last time the Chargers played in Jacksonville. They own him.
The Chargers on the road can't run an offense. All right, so we're obviously not going with that one. What's your other vote?
So obviously we're not going with that. That was just for argument's sake. But Vikings plus 5.5 would be the other one. I just think the line is too high. Minnesota is significantly better in terms of the defensive side of the ball. PFF also has them as the #1 graded special teams unit in the NFL. I think a lot of people would assume that that's Dallas because of Brandon Aubrey. Good coach. Love me some KOC. And it seems like they've figured out how to settle down J.J. McCarthy. Their quarterback play was so bad, they were unbettable for me for weeks. You were on them last week. They bounced back in a big way, but overvalued Cowboys team on the road. I'd wait on the 6 personally, but I would, if this is at 5.5 before the game, I'll bet the Minnesota Vikings. So if we want to throw them in the parlay, that would be my other nomination.
Yeah. By the way,
I hate both of these.
Since week 4, when the Chargers didn't have tackles left, EPA per play, Chiefs offense #5, Chargers 24. I like the Vikings. I played them. So I'm in on this. At DraftKings right now, 5.5 is the best we can do.
Quentin Williams is going to have a career day. You guys are nuts.
And, well, I mean, I guess let's see. Yeah, 5.5 is the best we can do here. So yeah, I'm in on this. I think that this line is just too high, and this Dallas defense is still not great. It's improved, but we saw them in what they did in Detroit. It's still not good on the back end. I think JJ McCarthy. Look, and this is a trending up health-wise defense, offensive line. They've had so many offensive line injuries, and Dallas is just. I think this comes down to the number for me. And home field isn't as great here. You have an indoor team going to an indoor stadium. I'm fine with the Vikings. I like them. I think this line's too high. You don't like
it
this?
doesn't matter what I say then. No,
well,
I
you
don't
like the Chiefs. So you don't like either of them.
I like your Chiefs. Yeah, exactly. I hate both of these. This is what Kravitz does to me every week. He's like, how can I piss Kendra off? Let's go with that. Yeah, no, I think Quentin Williams is going to have a career day. I just can't get on the JJ McCarthy train. And while the Cowboys defense is still struggling, you can't deny that they've been better since the trade deadline. Dak, if he had any competence the first half of the season, I think would be an MVP conversation. And with the Eagles slipping, that division is still, kind of available. So it doesn't really matter what I say. I probably would have to go with this option either way because I love the Chiefs. So perfect. I feel like when you guys fight, I'm like a little kid hiding in my room and my parents are like arguing over the kitchen island about Bills. And I just sit here and I sweat.
No, we're not arguing over Bills. We agree on the Bills. We're
yes,
I mean like
I'm
money.
kidding. I know. I'm kidding.
I meant like Bills as in like money.
I know.
We're arguing over dollar bills. So I guess in some sense.
Wait, so Evan, who would you have voted for given the choice?
I mean, in this situation, it's Minnesota, just because I said what I said about the Chargers and Chiefs. Like I'd rather be on the sidelines than be in the field for that one. So Minnesota, but I do think it'll get to 6. So we're just in an unfortunate situation having to do it now.
I'm sweaty. I don't like this.
Justin Herbert, 12-6 is a road underdog. Jim Harbaugh is yet to lose ATS against Andy Reid.
Kravitz is really like whipping
Unless
it
the
out and
Chargers-
laying it on the table right
Unless the
now.
Chargers rush for 300 yards in this game, 100 behind Herbert, I just don't. Unless he gets magically healed, he couldn't pass. No Chargers receiver could catch a ball. Like Gadsden isn't even being a consideration at the moment when he was amazing for a bunch of weeks. Like they feel like a mess from the passing game, and I don't know if you can. I just don't know if I can buy it. So
I do agree that Cowboys are going to take money. Probably it's going to be a big public play Sunday night. You probably see it 6 some point. We can buy the if you're out there you wanted to follow, you can wait. But we can buy the Vikings to 6.5. So we'll go Vikings plus 6.5.
Can we do Chiefs money line?
Chiefs.
No,
The
Chiefs
Chiefs
is
are
out.
not in this parlay.
Bills. We have Bills money line, and Browns plus 7.5. Last week we hit it was plus 575. This is a little lower, plus 515 at DraftKings.
I like that.
Yep, it is in there. All right, Browns plus 7.5, Bills money line, Vikings plus 6.5 at plus 514 over on DraftKings. The crown is yours. That'll do it for today's episode. Special thanks to our producers, Gifford Gould, David Payne, Stats Hound, Evan Abrams. The favorites will return on Sunday night, a Week 15 recap, and we'll see who won the battle. Catch it right here on the Action Network YouTube page. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time here on the Favorites Podcast. We'll be dreaming about you. Presented.
I've been waiting for another head-to-head. Time to add.